Hello everyone, welcome to my series on A2019 programming, and today we are going to discuss SAP automation in A2019. Now before starting this video, I would just like to say sorry that I don't have a SAP environment in my system so that I can give a demo, but I'm going to provide as much information as possible using this editor that can be used by any developer who's going for a SAP automation project. Now this SAP automation topic was requested by someone in the comment section, and I hope this is useful to that person. You're very welcome to ask questions if you have any, but once again I'm really sorry that I don't have SAP automation platform with me on which I can give this demo. So let me just start by what are the different techniques that we have by which we can automate SAP. So the first technique that we have is the SAP command list. So this is where the Automation Anywhere A2019 platform provides the libraries of commands that we can use on SAP. The next option that we have with us is the Recorder Capture. So our good old Recorder Capture is capable of capturing most of the controls in SAP screen, and we can use that to explore how much we can automate. And the third option that we have is our VB script recording. Now we'll discuss that one by one, but before I deep dive into each one of them, let me just open a article by Mariano from the SAP blogs. I'm just using his article because he has posted some screenshots which would be helpful for me to explain how to initiate the script recording in SAP and how to actually see the object IDs. So in SAP, when you initiate the script recording and playback option, so you get to choose to start the recording and save the recording in a VBS file. So this file is basically a VB script file. Now once you perform all these actions one by one, and finally when you stop the recording, entire action gets stored in the VBS file. So the VBS file looks somewhat like this. Now if you see this section, WND0, window 0, maybe T bar 0, button 11, this is the object ID. So this is the object ID of that object which is being used in that particular statement. So it could be a button, it could be a text box, checkbox, anything. So coming back to our automation commands, so if you see, SAP command list has different commands starting from set text, click menu, click object, expand, export table, all those things. So if you just take any command, set text, it asks for a field path and field value. So this field path is the object ID of the text box in which you are trying to input a value, and this value is that string that you are trying to enter. Now how do you find this field path? What you need to do is, if you directly go to SAP and do a small script recording and save the recording in a notepad. So let's say if I go back to the screen, I need to automate this order quantity. So if I initiate script recording, type some value in order quantity, then stop the recording and save it in a VBS file, then open the VBS file, I would get the object ID of that text box somewhat like this. That object ID needs to be entered in this field path. And the field value is the string that we are trying to set on the text box. The same thing is applicable for any kind of object that is being captured or used or clicked by these actions. So that is how the SAP command list works. Now, if you want to do a recorder capture of SAP, what you have to do is you have to use recorder capture the same way we use it for any other application. And you have to use this recorder capture and try to capture any text box or button or checkbox in SAP. If that gets captured without any errors, without any challenges, then you will see the object ID coming out in the properties, similar to the way you see the Tomex path and HTML IDs and everything coming out for a web page capture. Now, let's say you are not able to capture a certain text box in SAP. So let me go back to my screens. Actually, not my screens, the screens on this blog. So I'm really thankful to this guy for posting the screens. So if I go back to the screens, and let's go back to our order quantity. So let's say I'm trying to capture this order quantity using my recorder capture, and for some reason I'm not able to capture that. There is a challenge. This field is not getting captured. What I can do is I can capture some other text box field So basically the control needs to be same. This is a text box, so I look for some other text box field that I can capture. And in the item code field, I can put the same item code that I just captured using VBScript recording. And I can put that in the object property of item code in Recorder Capture. And that's the way we can use Recorder Capture to perform actions on SAV controls. And the third way is to use VBScript recording. So this is the native way where SAP enables, we need to have scripting enabled in SAP. And SAP provides the script recording and playback option over here. We capture the entire actions using VBScript and generate the VBScript something like this. Once this VBScript is generated, we can use our VBScript module and go for a manual input and paste the entire script here as a function, and then I can run the function using this run function module. So these are the different ways where we can capture SAP controls, either by using the SAP command list, or by going with Recorder Capture, or by using good old VBScript. Now, when we talk about best practices, what should be a best practice for SAP? So what I would suggest is, since the SAP scripting and playback option is giving us the field object ID, let's call it object ID, and we need to perform some action on this object ID. It could be a click action, it could be a set text action, it could be a select by text action. So we could create an Excel file which would have, let's say, few columns. One column could be the object ID, the next column could be the action, the next column would be value, or maybe string value to be set. So in the object ID, we can put the object ID of the control that we just captured. It could be something like WND 0, TBID 1, something like that. In the action, we can put, let's say, set text. In the string value, we can put the test message or the string that we want to set. Now once we create an Excel file like this, we can create one common task, one SAP utility task, which will read, so which will basically take this Excel sheet as a parameter, as an input. It will go for the object ID, it will go for the action, it will go for the parameters along with the action, and it will perform the Excel operations. Sorry, it will perform the SAP operations. So if it finds set text, it will go ahead and invoke the SAP set text method. Instead of set text, if it finds a click, then we don't have to put a text message over here because click doesn't need any string message. It will just perform a click action. So similarly, we can create a SAP utility and a Excel file structure. So any developer looking forward to automate a screen of SAP, all he or she needs to do is to fill up this Excel sheet and then call the utility by passing this sheet as a parameter. So that is how we would automate any SAP screen using A2019. I'm sorry I could not cover more on this. I wish I had a SAP environment with me to do some experiments, do some research. It would have been really interesting, but I would really encourage you guys to try it out on your systems, on your environments, on your organizations. And if you face any issues, if you have any questions, if you want to share something, the comment section is open for you. Please do that. I hope this is helpful for you. Thank you so much.